Good afternoon and welcome to our Boston Bruins media availability. We have with us head coach Bruce Cassidy. Please use the raise hand function to ask the coach a question. Keep it to one. Remember to unmute when you're called upon. We'll go to Stephen Conroy.
Hey, Bruce. What's Pasternak's availability today? And if he's available, who comes out?
He's going to go for warm-up, feeling much better. I don't want to speculate who comes out, Steve, simply because if Pasta doesn't go, then, it's an unnecessary move. So, obviously, if he's healthy, he's going to go back in with Berge and Marsh, and we'll make adjustments from there. There's a few guys that we've looked at, different scenarios, that we play through always. Like, what if Pasta goes in, unfortunately, does get hurt again? Who's the best fit to go up? Where do we go from there? How does our 11 forwards look, or if there's another injury, et cetera. So we always factor those things in. But right now, let's get him in the lineup first, and then we'll go from there.
We'll go to Matt Porter.
Morning, Bruce, or afternoon. How much of a motivation is it to close it out now, given the back-to-back ahead?
Well, listen, you want to take care of business immediately, but, it's easier said than done, Matt. I mean, they want to keep playing. They want to come back and win the series, so they got to do that one game at a time. And so I imagine they'll be laser focused today. So typically in these situations, you got to play your best game. I think the Islanders learned that last night. Good teams are going to play hard. So that's the situation we're in. Ideally, we get it done. You get a little extra rest. You don't have to deal with it back-to-back with certain, decisions you have to make, and should an injury come up, et cetera. There's all kinds of good reasons why, but it doesn't make it automatic. So we need to channel our third period the other night into our start, and then let the rest take care of itself.
We'll go to Joe Haggerty.
Hey, Butchie. I know he doesn't have any goals yet, but just given how much time he missed and how kind of different from most of the other guys, his, phase 3 and beginning of phase 4 was, how impressed, surprised, whatever word you want to use, have you been at the way Kosh has been able to integrate, build chemistry, and just play, in these handful of games since he started playing?
Well, we needed it. I mean, it was a bit of an unknown going in. We saw him obviously in March a long time ago, briefly. So some of that you don't even, really factor in because it was such a long time ago. And then you don't see him in camp. So for us, balanced scoring, whether it's the third line, power play really pitching in, second line, fourth line, whatever the case may be, you need it to advance. And we got a lot of it the other night in the third period, especially from that line. And he's a big reason. He's been good every game. So, good for him. He's been a little bit, I would say, as advertised, Hags. We were told he'd be good on pucks, second effort player, willing to shoot, gets into traffic, and he's made a few more plays than maybe what was described earlier as more of a shooter. So he's mixed both with that line. So it's worked well. They really have been our most consistent line. And again, in the playoffs, you need that. So happy for him.
We'll go to Gary Santinello.
Hi, Bruce. I know leadership can come in different forms and different players. One is, was Charlie's hit the other night an example of that? And can you think of other examples that we might not notice watching the games?
Yeah, I would say Charlie's was. I mean, it's a reactionary play from a good player that will be physical. It's not like he never hits anybody. He's up there, our hits every night. He's willing to finish checks. Gets hit a lot himself because he has the puck a lot. So, he's impactful in the game. So leadership, typically the best leadership is what you're doing on the ice. Walk the walk. There's other guys that are very good at the vocal part of it in the dressing room, on the bench at the right times. And that's, valuable as well. But the best form is go play the game on the ice the right way, impact the game to the best of your ability. That's, classic Charlie right there. Other forms of it, I think the other night has been our fourth line. Them going out there, they're a quiet group, going out, being physical, winning pucks, hemming the other team in, creating some offense. I mean, I think that's leadership for them because a lot of times it goes unnoticed. Not in Boston. I think the fans appreciate what our fourth line's been able to do for this team all the way back to 2011. So it's an integral part of our group, but sometimes, outside of Boston, there's not a lot of people that are aware that, how big an impact they have. So those are some things that we look to. And, sometimes you get a Grizz going in with Cliffy. Grizz is starting to develop a little bit of that, being the leader on his pair. And Cliffy's play. How he prepared and how he was a professional. So when he got his opportunity, speaks volumes of the character he has, and go in and play in a tough environment and really play well and not get nervous and play. So those are some little examples that we see in our locker room that help us win games every night outside of the, the obvious, the big names.
We'll go to Fluto Shinzawa.
Bruce, you just mentioned Connor, clearly ready when he got his chance, but that's easier said than done. What do you think worked in hindsight in terms of the communication, just to make sure that when he did get his chance, he was going to be on it like he has been?
Sometimes you have to talk to guys and remind them, what's at stake, the value of being ready. And I think it's a trickle-down effect from our top-end guys who remind them of that, how important they are. Everybody's valued in that locker room. You may not be in the lineup on a regular basis. You may have to wait your turn, but everyone is valued. And I appreciate that as a coach when, Bergies and Z's of the world talk to those guys and remind them about that, because they've been through these runs and they know what it takes. So another great example of that, Fluto, is Johnny Moore. Probably one of the ultimate professional in his preparation, ready to play, a veteran guy in this league, no maintenance, just digs in every day. And I think when he does that, it's pretty easy for the Cliftons and the Lozons, when they're not in the lineup, to follow suit, especially with his resume. So it helps to have those guys on board tremendously to, sort of keep the culture going and keep those, the depth part of your lineup ready to play. So, but good for Connor. He just wants his opportunity like everyone else. He's been there too, Fluto, don't forget. He was there last year and in some really big games and contributed. So he has a bit of a feel for what it's all about. And that's the other part about being ready. There was no anxiety about what to expect. He knew what to expect and he delivered.
Go to Kevin Dupont.
Bruce, you said the other day that you had sent Tuukka a text. Have you had any communication with him? We'd be curious to know what he's saying these days, and how do you manage that going forward?
No, I haven't. We communicated the day after he left. Listen, I wanted to make sure him and his wife and his daughters were doing well. I addressed that with you guys, and he responded and sounded like things were going better. So after that, Kevin and I haven't. It's more about speaking with Yarrow. Where's his game at? How does he feel? And then Vladar about being ready. So, that's the, where it went from there. And I don't know if he's been in communication with some of the players. I'm sure he has, but with myself, I've kind of dealt with Yarrow and Danny more, and Max for that matter, about getting them ready.
We'll go to Ian McLaren.
Hi, Bruce. The other night when Charlie Coyle was bumped up to the first line, Jack Stanika centered the third line. How comfortable are you with him in that position if called upon again today, versus having him on the wing kind of as a young guy just finding his legs in the NHL?
Yeah, well, he actually, they may have switched a little bit for a face-off as of right now, but actually Crowley stayed in the middle and Jack was on the right and Bjork on the left. We made that switch. I'd be fine with Jack in the middle, though. He's taken draws in the second power play unit the other day with DeBrusk and Kasha out there. So if the penalty expires and he plays center, we're fine with it. He's got a good defensive conscience, knows where to go in his own end, second effort guy. So he'll always, reload well and work back in his own end. The only issue you're going to run into him, whether he's a wing or a centerman, Ian, is his strength in the battles. I mean, he's new to this NHL playoffs, so that you're dealing with men out there. But so far, I think he's handled it well. He's found the inside ice. He's done his job away from the puck systematically. He's picked up what we're trying to do. So, again, whether it's center or right wing, we're fine with it. We just happen to have a good depth down the middle. When he plays, he's one of six guys now because Crowley plays, Lindholm, Coyle, Berge, Krejci. So it's a good situation to be in for us.
Last question for the coach will be from Jimmy Murphy.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hi, Jimmy.
I'm just wondering, we talked about before you guys got into the bubble, just what it would be like on the benches trying to maybe conceal information or, not let the other bench hear what you guys are doing. What's that whole situation been like so far to you?
I haven't even thought twice about it, Jimmy. There was some chatter about that, but I think what happens late in games is if there's a timeout, both benches are going through, depending on where you are. Like for the other night, how are we going to break out if we win the draw? Where are we going if we lose the draw? Carolina's at their bench drawing up a 6-on-5 play. So, and then when they called their timeout after the second goal, I think we were all on our bench just, reminding our guys to keep pushing, keep playing. Just because we got a couple goals doesn't mean we were ahead and that this thing was anywhere near over. So I haven't noticed a lot of that stuff going on. There is bushes between the glass too. So, you look over at the other bench, you still got to look around, but you're right. There was discussion about that, but I don't think it's really come through much other than you can hear the chirps better. When guys are going at each other on the bench, obviously, you can hear them a little bit better, and that was to be expected, and that has held true. And that you can hear some of that stuff all over the rink, I imagine.